You won't believe why Lake Mead is drying up. The climate has been negatively impacted by human activity. This climate change is starting to have real-world consequences now. Some very alarming discoveries have been made all across the world as a direct result of climate change. How many of them do you recognize? In this video, we'll explain what's causing Lake Mead to dry up and what can be done about it. Stay tuned. What is Lake Mead? Hoover Dam in the southwestern United States built Lake Mead, a reservoir on the Colorado River. Approximately 24 miles or 39 kilometers east of Las Vegas, it connects the two states of Nevada and Arizona at their respective borders. In terms of water storage capacity, it is the best reservoir in the United States. Lake Mead is used by parts of Arizona, California, and Nevada, as well as some of Mexico, to supply drinking water and agricultural irrigation. At full pool, Lake Mead has a volume of 28.23 million acre-feet, 32.236 cubic kilometers, a surface area of 247 square miles, or 640 square kilometers, a maximum depth of 532 feet, or 162 meters, a height of 1,229 feet, or 375 meters above sea level, and a length of 112 miles, or 180 kilometers. Effect of climate change on Lake Mead. Climate change is having an impact on Lake Mead, as the lake is releasing its dead into the receding waters. The Colorado River's drying up is causing more problems than just the occasional mob hit involving a body in a barrel and some desolate shoreline. Dust from volcanoes in Idaho, Wyoming, and California was deposited in southern Nevada 12 million years ago, telling the story of what happened there over that incomprehensibly long period. The Colorado River's volume has been drastically reduced as a result of drought and diversions. The United States Board of Reclamation has adopted emergency steps to protect its flows, and the 7 states that share the upper and lower Colorado River basins and rely on the river are cooperating to find solutions. Meanwhile, the extreme drought and drying of the Southwest are serving as a warning sign of what nature can teach humanity about the history and climatic variations of the globe. Factors contributing to the current drought situation: dams, reservoirs, and the failure to prioritize environmental concerns. The spectacular geology, deserts, mountains, and panoramic vistas of the American Southwest are what draw visitors there, not the region's easy access to water. Water shortages are inevitable because of the region's predominantly arid climate. Dams and the reservoirs they create have traditionally been used for water control. Water for the West's expanding population necessitated these technological advancements. Nonetheless, development pressures in the 20th century sped up their adoption, and as a result, many environmental considerations were ignored. Increased water surface area. The reservoirs that are formed as a result of dams increase the total surface area of the water they contain. A higher evaporation rate is a result of this expansion in the surface area. These reservoirs are in grave danger because of climate change, the continuing drought in the West, and the predicted increase in aridity. Farming on a large scale. Spray irrigation from these reservoirs is used by large-scale farms in the West to cultivate water-intensive crops like corn, wheat, and soybeans. Water is wasted more frequently with this form of irrigation, mostly due to inadequate conveyance. Environmental aspects of dams and reservoirs. Water quality is degraded, sediment is trapped, and downstream flows are redirected, all of which endanger the vital riparian habitat along the Colorado River that dams and reservoirs destroy. The Grand Canyon and Zion National Park are just 2 of the 11 national parks and monuments that the Colorado River passes through on its way to the Pacific Ocean. Historical water and resource management practices have prioritized meeting human needs over protecting the environment. Since plants, animals, and water do not care about national borders, Natalie Triedman of Colorado College points out that legislation and other governmental activities are not always in sync with the demands of these natural species. Dams and reservoirs in the Colorado River Basin have been built with little regard for their impact on the local ecosystem. One such agreement that reserves water for human consumption is the Colorado River Compact. Water is necessary for the survival of many different species, not just humans. Governments on all levels will be under increasing pressure to look beyond conventional methods of water management as public concern for the environment rises. Future prospects and suggested actions. Tier 1 water shortage. There is an extremely serious Tier 1 water shortage in Lake Mead right now. As a result of the Glen Canyon Dam, Lake Powell is likewise suffering from historically low water levels. Unlike Lake Mead and the Hoover Dam, Lake Powell is positioned upstream, so it receives a greater share of the precipitation that ultimately nourishes the entire Colorado River system. The Bureau of Reclamation emphasizes that this is the first time Lake Mead has ever been declared to be in a water shortage, and that this demonstrates the severity of the drought and Lake Mead's low reservoir conditions. Both dams will be required to restrict the amount of water released to downstream users. To no one's surprise, further research has been done into dams and diversions as possible long-term solutions. The state legislature in Arizona has even requested that the federal government look into the feasibility of harvesting water from the Mississippi River flooding. The most commonly used conservation methods include reporting more water waste, following seasonal water restrictions, and replacing unused grass with water-efficient gardens. Indeed, Assembly Bill 356 was passed into law by Nevada Governor Steve Sisolak in 2021, making it mandatory to replace abandoned grass landscapes or landscapes covered with turf grass for purely cosmetic purposes by the end of 2026. The general manager of the Southern Nevada Water Authority, John Ensminger, explained that by replacing unused grass with water-efficient landscaping, the region could save more than 9.5 billion gallons of water annually. This is equivalent to about 10% of the region's total annual water supply from the Colorado River at Lake Mead. This policy initiative demonstrates a dedication to using the existing natural environment in the American Southwest to increase water efficiency as opposed to constructing additional infrastructure to address the underlying cause of the drought. Increasing municipal water conservation through better landscaping is a good first step, but other sectors, like industry and agriculture, will need to rethink their water management strategies to ensure a sustainable future. The term water bankruptcy describes what happens when water demand exceeds availability. Water bankruptcy. In essence, water bankruptcy is a guarantee of demand without adequate supply. Harvesting water from the Mississippi and building new dams are two solutions that focus on boosting supply, but do not take into account the need for more water. Nearly 80% of the water in the Colorado River Basin is used for agricultural purposes, making it one of the largest users of the river. There's a strong correlation between Western agricultural production and water use, and water policy initiatives must take this into account for effective management. According to reporter Saul Elbein, the drought in the U.S. West has been deepening for 2 decades with no end in sight. Water use laws, created in the early 20th century, a time of more copious rainfall, have left regulators wrestling with limited options in the face of climate change challenges, especially worsening drought, which is particularly detrimental to farmers. The drought prediction for March 2022 shows no sign of improvement. Instead of wasting time and energy trying to meet unsustainable expectations, the region should focus its attention on finding innovative solutions to the water shortage problem in the Colorado River Basin. Effects of low water in Lake Mead. Despite the dramatic decrease in water level, the reservoir continues to serve as an excellent playground for the many millions of annual tourists. The problem is that it's getting harder and harder to get a boat off the ground. Around $50 million has been spent since the year 2000 by the National Park Service to relocate and lengthen boat launch ramps and other infrastructure to accommodate the falling water level, according to agency officials. The park was forced to close all but one ramp, despite these extensive and costly renovations. The only existing launch ramp at Hemingway Harbor does not yet have deep enough water for larger vessels. People who bring their boats and trailers to the lake on the weekends often have to wait for several hours. Many warning signs line the long paved approach to the ramp, highlighting the perils of launching a boat when the water level is low. The park's former superintendent, Alan O'Neill, who worked there from 1987 to 2000, is disappointed that there is now only one boat ramp for visitors to use on the lake. Although O'Neill is quick to point out that there is still plenty to do on land in the park's 1.5 million acres, thanks to its massive mountains, valleys, and canyons, he's concerned that the closure of infrastructure like launch ramps and marinas has drastically altered the tourist experience at the lake. O'Neill says he feels terrible looking out over the lake and the people who have come to enjoy the park because of it. The director of operations at Lake Mead Marina in Hemingway Harbor, Bruce Nelson, believes that the news of the awful drought's effects on the lake may also be discouraging visitors since they believe the view has turned depressing. This ends the video for today. Do you know any other reason why Lake Mead is drying up? Let us know in the comments section. Also, let us know what topic we should cover in our next video. Like and share this video. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you in the next video.